Welcome back to Hardball. Well, last week, Donald Trump praised FBI Director James Comey and his decision to continue to investigate Hillary Clinton's emails.
I have to give the FBI credit. That was so bad what happened originally, and it took guts for Director Comey to make the move that he made in light of the kind of opposition he had where they're trying to protect her from criminal prosecution. What he did, he brought back his reputation. He brought it back. He's got to hang tough because there's a lot of people want him to do the wrong thing.
But now the Director Comey has announced today that the FBI has concluded the review of Clinton's emails and has not changed its recommendation that she should not face criminal charges. Does he still, Trump, feel the same way about Comey that he did last week? Let's ask Trump's campaign manager, Kellyanne Conway, who joins us now. Kellyanne, your view of this topsy-turvy situation regarding the FBI director. When he made his announcements in July, the conservatives and the Trump people didn't like it at all. When he made the announcement 2 Fridays ago, the Democrats didn't like it one way or the other. Now the Democrats are elated. They're I don't know, they're popping the champagne bottles or whatever on the plane. They're thrilled with this exoneration of their candidate. What's your reaction?
Then why in the world did they go so viciously, personally, and professionally after Jim Comey and his reputation and his job performance when this was all announced? I mean, they basically spent all last week, Chris, for 9 straight days impugning the integrity of Jim Comey only because they didn't like his latest move. I think that's really unfortunate. Even the President of the United States got into the act, saying that we don't deal with innuendo, we don't deal with speculation, we don't, you shouldn't be interfering with an election. So do they think that this announcement 2 days before the polls close is, quote, interfering with an election? And so I think that they just were way out of bounds in the vicious attack on Jim Comey because they didn't like the result. And look, we think that the FBI investigation was mishandled from the beginning. That's pretty obvious because we just learned overnight that she asked her maid to print out information that was classified. This woman does not have a security clearance. It's not her fault. The woman was put in a bad position, but Hillary Clinton should know better. We know that she left materials out at a hotel in China. We know there were materials on Huma's front seat of the car. You know, the list goes on and on. So I don't think it changes what most people think about Hillary Clinton. Those who were defending her agreed with her that they had long ago made up their mind about the emails. But it also doesn't change the minds of lots of swing voters and independents who just aren't there, who just won't put her at 50% in any of these blue states where we now have them on the run. They're following our lead. We scrambled the whole map the last couple of days to week, and they're following us. It's not like they're saying, you know, we won't go to Michigan tonight because of what Comey said. They're in Michigan because we're in Michigan.
Here's Donald Trump. The FBI would have never reopened the case at this time unless it were an egregious criminal offense. This is the biggest scandal since Watergate. Does that still hold what he said, those words? Biggest scandal since Watergate, an egregious offense, when it turns out that all they did was decide to look at these emails. They didn't decide it was an egregious offense. They just decided to look at the emails. But your candidate said it was an egregious offense, worse than Watergate, based upon the fact that the FBI began to look at these subsequent emails. Is he still saying that?
He hasn't said that in a while, but more to the point on the egregious criminal offense piece, many people said that, Chris. Many people many people left, right, and center said there must be something big there for him to reopen it or continue it, however the verbiage is, this close to an election. Now, I want to commend the FBI's
But what about
efficiency.
now that they've said that they've exonerated Hillary Clinton, saying there's nothing in the emails to justify any kind of prosecution? Where's your candidate without his basis? He had a basis, he said, for charging her with the worst crime since Watergate. What's his basis now for saying that?
He didn't say that tonight, but let me just remind you.
No, he said this is the biggest scandal since Watergate. Donald Trump said that.
He did at the time, but look,
what do you mean,
this
that doesn't
change
hold?
Anything. Chris, if you want me to answer, let me know.
I'm asking you the question.
Anything.
Does he still believe that she's committed a crime worse than Watergate?
He said that one time, but the facts remain that what she did, what Jim Comey said she did on July 12th under oath to that committee in front of Chairman Gowdy, nothing changes. I totally agree with Jim Comey today that nothing changes from the original conclusion. And let's review that she lied about having the private server to begin with. She lied about what was on the server. She lied about classified information being on her emails. It was. Under oath, he also testified that she lied about using one device. She had used multiple devices. So we believe everything he said under oath on July 7th, which was a pretty remarkable spectacle in and of itself, is still the truth. And that's why majorities of Americans, including in your own NBC polling, don't trust her. Okay. They don't think she's honest and trustworthy. That's not going to change. It didn't change last week, and it's not going to change tonight.
If Mr. Trump wins the election, does he want to have the FBI continue its investigation of these emails?
I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. But the fact is, I mean, for a campaign and for conservatives who generally are critical of the inefficiency of government and how slowly it moves, I have to really commend the efficiency of the FBI in this case, because they read 650,000 emails or so in a very short period of time. That's pretty remarkable.
But he said that the investigation is going to continue ad infinitum. It's going to end up in indictments and convictions, and that's going to screw up any Hillary Clinton administration. That is the way I think it's a very smart political statement to make, because it suggests if you're a Hillary person, why bother electing her, because it'll be just nothing but chaos and investigations the whole term. Does he still believe that would be the case if she wins?
But what should he have said? He's not the FBI. He's not Director Comey. Director Comey made that decision, and Mr. Trump gave his opinion of it. I think it's a very logical opinion to have, conclusion to make, and it does hurt her because she's Hillary Clinton. Chris, the idea that people started to question Hillary Clinton's ethical standards or the cloud of corruption that seems to follow her around, the idea that that happened for the first time last Friday is a fiction.
We're going right now.
People don't trust her.
Thanks, Kellyanne. I'm sorry not to interrupt you. I try to hear all your thoughts. We're going right now to your candidate, Donald Trump. He's on stage at a rally in Sterling Heights, Michigan. Let's go to the Trump campaign.
The worst trade deal ever signed by any country ever. China's entry into the World Trade Organization. The job-killing deal with South Korea, another beauty that was a disaster. And Hillary now wants the Trans-Pacific Partnership. She calls it the gold standard. Hillary Clinton's policies have devastated your automobile industry, all to the benefit of special interests. We will put a stop to all of that on November 8th. Get out and vote, Michigan. You know, I don't know if you've been seeing what's happening over the last week or so, but they are going wild. The very dishonest media, the world's most dishonest people. Today I was watching They're bad people. They're bad people and they're dishonest people. They don't tell the truth. They don't write the truth. But I will say this, so I was watching the polls. We're leading in Ohio. We're leading in Iowa. We're leading in New Hampshire, just out.
That's Donald Trump out in Michigan right now. We're going to listen to what he says, and if he talks about the FBI's decision, we're going to bring that to you live. Joining me right now is U.S. Congressman Elijah Cummings, a Democrat from Maryland, who's also a ranking member of the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. Mr. Cummings has called for a Justice Department Inspector General to investigate where the FBI is leaking information that could benefit Donald Trump. Mr. Cummings, thanks. It's an honor to have you on, sir. Where are you now, right now, that the FBI has come out and basically, clearly exonerated Hillary Clinton, saying there's nothing in any of these emails, 650,000 of them, that even relates to anything more than a duplication of previously studied emails or household sort of things, nothing to do with the government?
Well, I'm glad that the FBI cleared that up. But I must say, Chris, it is very alarming that the Director Comey even put out that letter 9 days ago. And I think that it was very vague. And keep in mind, a lot of people have already voted since that letter came out. And so we don't know exactly how it may have affected them, but it does concern me. And I still think that the Inspector General should take a clear look at the FBI and try to figure out where are all these leaks coming from? Because my 20 years of practicing law and my 20 years of being on this committee, I can tell you, I have never seen a situation where we had so many leaks coming out of the FBI, and I think that we've got to take a look at that.
Let's talk about the law. Suppose there's a a fellowship, I imagine there is, between among former and current FBI agents. So you retire at 65 or whatever the official age is. You retire and you keep in touch with your old men and women you work with, and you call them up and say at a party or something, you say, what's happened back there? And they say something, well, we're not happy about this investigation of Hillary Clinton, blah, blah, blah. And just in general terms, say they're steamed up. Is that a criminal violation, or is that just it's a shop talk?
I don't think that's a criminal violation, but it is not the way they are supposed to proceed. I mean, let's look at what Mayor Giuliani did. What he did was he took information from agents, and then he sort of laundered it.
He says former agents.
Yeah. I said he took information from former agents that he said they had been taken from current agents. Well, and then he puts that information out. Now, I know he's denied things, he's walked it back. But the thing is that what he did was basically launder the information from the current agents, and that's just not the procedure. I've talked to 5 or 6 people in the Justice Department type and FBI type over the last day or so, and they told me that just doesn't work that way, and he shouldn't have done that.
How would you track it? You know, tracking a leak is difficult. There's leaks on Capitol Hill all the time from staff people or members. How do you track a leak that's so amorphous? Did somebody talk to somebody who talked to Rudy Giuliani or some friend of Giuliani's?
I got to tell you, I'm not sure. I mean, somebody's got to look at it. It's not. I use Giuliani as one. But Chris, keep in mind, come on now. We've had leaks coming out of the FBI almost every day. Seems like sometimes 2 and 3 times a day coming out. And at some point, that needs to be dealt with, because we have a situation here in this country. It's not so much what the FBI eventually finds. Just a person being under investigation can be extremely damaging. Now, going to this case, we've got all of this information being leaked out about these cases, but again, that's not fair. It was not fair to Hillary Clinton. She couldn't defend herself against it. And I got to tell you that I think the one thing that I've demanded of our committee and the agencies that come under us is I want them to be fair, I want them to be honest, and I want them to treat the American people appropriately.
To make your point, we had a big politician in Philadelphia about 34 years ago won a huge libel case for a leak coming out. It was given to a local broadcasting affiliate. They put out the fact that he was going to be indicted. He won a big killing on that, because you can't do that. You can't just throw out the word that somebody's under indictment or something's coming when it's not true. Anyway, U.S. Congressman Elijah Cummings, thank you, sir. Up next, we're going to continue to follow our top story, this Sunday surprise, November surprise, if you will, from the director of the FBI, that the Clinton email probe is over, kaput, goodbye. Clean bill of health for Hillary Clinton from the FBI director himself, James Comey. What a showstopper tonight, just 2 nights before the election. Plus, reports of a surging, this is the other big story we thought would be the biggest story, Latino vote. In key battleground states like Nevada, Hispanic people, Latino people are voting big time. And you can assume which way they're voting based on who wants to be called rapists and murderers. Anyway, that's ahead. And this is Hardball, a place for politics.